So we got a bunch of questions already piled up. There's the Schnoppe. Well, this one meant to be Schnoppet, but it's just Schnoppe. I don't know. But there's a Schnoppet with a pointer, so like we can answer that one. Actually have, actually, oh jeez. Actually have one maybe.
Okay.
So there's like one thing that like for those of you who don't know, Schnoppet, it's almost a thing we kind of started doing where Graham just sends it at the beginning, and it's like. One of the meanings of this is like, something that at the thought of it, it makes you just instantly disintegrate or explode. And we kind of like use it like, to kind of like do sort of like little PSAs about some of the issues that we know we sometimes face. One of them that like ends up kind of like bugging me sometimes, like that happens quite a lot, is something called the XY problem. And this is a very well-known kind of problem, like, in software engineering, where somebody has a problem X, and they think they can solve it by having Y. So then they go to developers and they ask them, can you add Y? And the developers will be like, well, that's kind of weird, like, why would you want that? And it turns out, that, like, they want to solve problem X, but they don't tell developers they want to solve problem X. And as a result, like it makes it kind of hard because when you tell developers I want to solve problem X, they'll be like, oh, there's a solution Z, which is much more fitting, much easier, much less janky, but it can be really difficult to do when you tell them just about Y and you don't tell them about the problem X. And this kind of happens regularly, with our GitHub, like where people ask us, for a very specific way to solve particular problem. Like they run into like, something's not working like right or something's causing issues, and they'll make an issue asking for a very like just make these changes, and we're like, why would you like these are weird changes to make. And the main problem with that is like, like it's for us to work more efficiently. Focus on telling us the problem first. What is the issue you're actually trying to solve, not how you solve it. Because figuring out how to solve issues, that's our job. Like, we're the engineers, we have like, deep knowledge of the engine, we have deep knowledge of the platform, we have deep knowledge of like where we want the platform to be heading in the future, like, things that are being developed, things, all the different kind of issues, so we can find a solution that works the best. That's like the best solution for the platform and for where the platform is heading, and it will just cause us the least amount of problems. But when you ask for a very specific way to solve that problem, one, it kind of ties our hands, so like we like asking us to do something that might be complicating our work a lot and complicating some of the future work. And also, like, we have to kind of figure out what is the problem you're trying to solve with it. So it's like, to give you a practical example, and I'm not even gonna use something that's from software engineering. Imagine we have a chair, and imagine we have a chair, and the chair, like, one of the legs is too short, and the chair is wiggling, and you're like, okay, I can solve it, I can solve it by putting a book there, but you don't have a book that fits the exact gap, so you're like, okay, I need a book that has, exactly this amount of pages. So you go, like, into the shop and you ask, do you have a book that is, like, has this amount of pages? And the librarian will be like, what? Why would we be asking for a book with this many pages? Like, that's a very weird request. And it turns out, like, they might not know, you're trying to solve a problem that you have a crooked chair. But if you go and ask, my chair is crooked, one of the legs is too short, maybe they'll be like, oh, here's a carpenter. Actually, is that the right word, carpenter? I think so. Like, there's like, a woodworker, that's a better word. There's this person who's a woodworker, they're gonna fix the chair for you by actually, fixing the leg size, by, adding a perfect thing for it. And that's kind of like, what the XY problem is. Like, you want to tell them the root of your issue, the problem you're having, which is in this case is like your chair is crooked and it's wiggling and you don't want it to be wiggling. But if you go and ask somebody, hey, can you find me a book that has this amount of pages? It can be hard to figure out, like, that the problem you're trying to solve is that your chair is wiggling, and there might be much better solution, which is just fixing the leg. So I hope that kind of analogy helps to understand better, like the kind of issue, and like where focusing on the root of the issue it makes my work much more easier, and it also makes it easier for you because we can figure out like a really good solution for your problem. Because if I go back to the analogy with the chair, if you got, the book, then you still have the issue, like, there's like now a book on your floor, and now you want to move the chair, the book is not attached, so you have to move with it, so like, it's a very janky solution to that problem. But if the leg is just fixed, if they literally just, glue or nail, like, a leg extension to fix it, then it's a much cleaner solution. And if you tell us, your problem, we can give you a much cleaner solution as well. So that's my snippet for today.